Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about speech and vibration. Also talk about pure tone and their corresponding vibration patterns. All these situations are part of how we can speak and how we can hear. Last time we mentioned if I speak, I can feel the vibration of my vocal cord. I can even control unconsciously the width of my vocal cord so that the open can be controlled. The width can be controlled unconsciously. And we also introduced two kinds. One is vowels, the other is consonants. Vowels are like O, R. Consonants more like S, as in same, T, as in teacher. These two kinds are fundamental components of my words, my speeches. However, these two kinds, they have quite a different patterns of vibration. For consonants, their vibration is mostly on my vocal cord. For vowels, for example, O in open, when I say O, mostly vibration is a repeated pattern. So if we look at over time, there are two types of vibration. One is periodic. The other one is non-periodic. Periodic, for example, vowels like O, R. Non-periodic, like consonants, S, as in same, T, as in teacher. For periodic vibration, its pattern repeats regularly over time. Like water waves, like ocean waves. There's a pattern. For non-periodic vibration, it does not have a regular pattern. Like S, T. So periodic pattern. Non-periodic, no pattern. Periodic vowels, non-periodic consonants. We can also classify vibration based on number of components. For example, we can call it a simple vibration when it has only one pattern. We can call it complex if more than one pattern. Question: if I say a sentence, Is that sentence a simple or complex? Or let me rephrase. When I speak a sentence, is my sentence generated by a simple or complex vibration? What's the answer? The answer is complex. Most of our speeches, 99% or more, carry complicated patterns, carry more than one meaningful components. But to understand speech, we can first look at the most simple ones, which are sine waves. So sine waves are describing vibrations. If you want to say from the field of hearing, we can call it pure tones. So sine waves correspond to pure tones. That's a relationship. So for sine waves, they are periodic in nature. So they are periodic, simple, and fundamental. Later we can say by using sine waves, different kinds of sine waves, we can form any complicated pattern. Or if we say in another way, any of my speech can be decomposed into a number of sine waves. These two statements are equivalent. Okay, sine waves. Sine waves are fundamental to many scientific fields. Sine wave is also very critical to our hearing and speech research. First of all, we need to know the three factors that define a sine wave. If any of the three factors are different, the sine wave is different. First of all, amplitude. A sine wave with low amplitude and sine wave with high amplitude. Just like we look at amplitude of the ocean wave. Sometimes ocean waves are high in amplitude, sometimes they are low. The second factor is frequency. If this is a particle in the air, it can move up and down or left and right. But how fast it can move? It can move slowly, causing a sine wave of 1 second, or it can move fast. So frequency. High frequency means the particle moves fast. Low frequency, the particle in the air moves slowly. Starting phase. If a particle in the air moves around its resting phase back and forth, left to right, To define a sine wave, we need to know what's starting point, so-called starting phase. Does it start from the resting state, or does the sine wave starting from the leftmost or rightmost? So those are three critical factors that can define a particular sine wave. The amplitude, as we just mentioned, amplitude is a displacement in reference to the resting state. It's not too hard to understand. We have instantaneous amplitude. We have peak amplitude. We have the peak-to-peak amplitude. Peak amplitude is distance between the peak and the valley. So that's called peak-to-peak amplitude. There's RMS amplitude, which is average over time. So let's look at this waveform. The x-axis is time in unit of seconds. 1 grade is 0.005 seconds. Then y-axis is amplitude. We can say amplitude goes between -5 to 5 over time, periodically. We understand this very easily. So the instantaneous amplitude at 0 second is 0. And what is the instantaneous amplitude at 0.015 second? Yes, very easy, right? Here is 0.01, here is 0.02. In the middle is 0.015. Amplitude is -5. So that's amplitude. Number 2, frequency. What's the frequency of this sine wave? So this is very easy way to tell. From peak to another peak, if you can measure, that is 0.02 from here to here. Then it's easy to calculate the frequency. We just put 1 over 0.02. What do we get? We get 50. Yeah, you're right. 50. What's the unit? Hertz. Yes. This particular sine wave has a frequency of 50 Hertz. That's very close to the lowest frequency our human beings can speak. And it's not hard to guess. That's also close to the lowest frequency our ears can hear. Last factor, what's the starting phase? Yes, you're right. The starting phase is 0 amplitude. So with those 3 factors, we can define a vibration in the pattern of sine wave very clearly. Given definition of a simple sine wave, we can define any complex vibration. How to do that? There is a way we can decompose a complex vibration into many, many small sine waves. Each of them has unique frequency, starting phase, and amplitude. By combining them together, we can generate any speech. That's how we can speak. That's how we can deliver our speech. Also, if you look at this, we can see that the peak amplitude is 5, and the peak to peak is 10, because the top is 5, the bottom is -5. So peak to peak, 10. So with these in mind, let's look at this sine wave again. A sine wave is vibration. A pure tone is something we can generate by whistling, and more importantly, it's something we can hear. It's pure, it's tonal, so-called pure tone. So vibration, sine wave, pure tone, hearing. Vibration, hearing. There's mapping between vibration to hearing. So vibration generates sound. Vibration generates speech. That's how the generation works. And when we were born as a baby, our brain was like empty. Then after months, years of learning, how do we learn? We hear the speeches from our parents. To hear, you probably know that our ear has the ability to decompose complex speech into sine waves. How our ear can do that? It is amazing. We will talk about that next time. Bye-bye.